My name is Holly Margell, and I'm the owner of Native Light Photography. I am a professional photographer, and one of the things I love doing is taking photographs of business owners and career professionals so that you can show the world what you make, do, or create. The other thing I love to do is to teach others how to take better photographs themselves, whether that means they're using a professional digital camera, they're learning how to use it, or if they're taking photos with their phone using the smartphone camera they've got built into this handy dandy device. And today, I get to teach you how to take better smartphone photos yourself in partnership with Only in South Park. If you'd like to learn more about the kind of work that I do, or whether you decide after you watch this course that you want to get more specific lessons that are relevant for your business, you can find out more about me at nativelightphoto.com. All right, let's begin the class. Lesson number 1, light. There is no photograph without light. Light illuminates the subject. It helps affect the color, the vibrancy, the showing the details, all of it. So our first lesson has to do with light. The first thing to do is to notice, where is your light coming from? What quality is your light? Is it bright? Is it dim? What is it? Right now, if you'll notice, the lighting changed from my introduction to our first lesson. That's because I turned down or off one of my light sources. I have set up 3 light sources to make this video. So here we go. Let's look at what the difference one light makes. And just like that, we have our 3rd light source. With that 3rd light source, I have enough light so that you can see me and I can teach the rest of this class. And I want to start by telling you one of the secrets of great photography, besides having enough light, and that is looking for a light source and adding light as needed. So for example, today is a dark gray February day. My first light source is the window light over here to the side. Now, if it were, say, June, it would be much brighter than it is right now. But today it's kind of gray. It's bright, but not bright enough. So I have 3 additional lights set up. I have 1 overhead light in the ceiling that just is in the space I have. And I have 2 studio lights I added behind the camera. I have 1 just to the camera in that direction and 1 to camera in that direction, bouncing off the ceiling down towards me so that I have nice, soft, even light. Now you might ask yourself, why am I bouncing the light off the ceiling? The reason is because my ceiling is white and it's diffusing the light so it's not harsh. It's not too contrasting or too unflattering. So if you are working in your business and the natural light is not bright enough and the overhead light is not bright enough, think about what are the lights you have that you can set up and bounce and reflect it, perhaps against your ceiling or maybe even a white poster sheet. All right, you can do this by getting, say, a work light. You angle it, you bounce it off a white source, it diffuses that light. Maybe you have walls that are white or cream or a light color. That will help bounce that. All right, lighting part 2. Let's say, for example, you have a fantastic food or an item that you must capture because you have just the right people involved, but you don't have time to set up your lighting. Well, you can adjust your lighting in your smartphone. So what you'll want to do is open that smartphone up, get it in camera mode, and see if you can select or change and adjust the light. The first way to do that is to simply press on your screen and see if something comes up that allows you to increase the lightness or the darkness. It might look like this toggle switch I'm going to show you. And that's what it looks like on an iPhone. It might look slightly different depending on the type of smartphone you have. But it's important to look at what tools you have built into your smartphone so that you have every opportunity to adjust your lighting, whether it's adding extra lights like I have today or simply adjusting it in camera. All right, that's lesson number 1, lighting. Let's talk about the second part to a great photo, and that is composition. Without good composition, a photo might be boring or confusing. What I mean by that is it might not be easy to see what the purpose of the photo is. So when I think composition, I go back to my art school days and I think about this concept called the rule of thirds. What that means is that you want to put your subject, you want to put the thing you want your viewer, the person looking at your photo, to focus on first. Now, rule of thirds, I like to think of it as a tic-tac-toe grid where you put your subject in different places in your screen to be interesting. Now I will show you my camera. I can turn on something called a grid mode. I know that most iPhone versions have this option, and many Android smartphones do too. So what you'll want to do is look at your settings and turn on grid view. It looks something like this. Okay, now that's great. I want you to find that and use that as a guiding tool, and then play around with it. Do some practice, see what it looks like. All right, now let's get started with examples. I'm going to demonstrate some skills and techniques, and then later on I'm going to pull in some real food with some real people. I will have some wonderful examples for you to view. All right, to start us off, we have this really lovely, interesting object right here. And what's cool about this is it's a great example because it's reflecting light and it's shiny, and shiny surfaces are really challenging to photograph. Let's say, for example, you're photographing some silverware or utensils and they're shiny. Well, we want to think about how and where we go to take pictures of shiny objects, but also how to make a still object or a sculpture interesting. So the first thing that we can do is just do it straight on at the camera. But we also might want to think about, okay, how do we crop this? How do we use composition to make it interesting? So I'm going to take a few photos myself and then show you how I might move or manipulate this to avoid too much glare, like the shiny reflectiveness, or to make it interesting to add text and something else to it. Ready? Here we go. So I'm going to get out my smartphone, get it in camera mode, and I'm just going to move around it and go, what side is shiny? This side has a lot of shine from the window source over here on this side of the screen. So I'm going to walk around to the other side and see what it looks like. See if we can get some diffused lighting on there so it's less shine. And it looks like this is just a little bit more forgiving. So I'm going to take a photo, but also I'm going to change my angle at it. So I'm going to go right like this. Here we go. I'm going to try straight on. And then I'm also going to just simply try moving the object. If it's maybe angled like that, it might be a little bit more interesting. Here we go. And I'm photographing this at eye level because this sculpture is kind of like a human face, right? So we want to think about when we are photographing anything lifelike or human-like, we're more at eye level to make it show really the shape of this sculpture human head. So here we go, we're going to do another photo. And all I'm doing is I'm changing the direction, the composition of that image. All right, so there we go. We've taken a few different interesting photographs of this sculpture, thinking about where the light comes from. It is very shiny. We are going to take care of some of that, reducing that shine when we get to editing. But for now, we're focused on taking photos of interesting objects. So I'm going to put this away and move on to our next object. Our next object is a set of old books. They're interesting, they're colorful. Now with books, we could either position them like this where they're standing up, or we could lay them down. Either way, there's no right or wrong way. It's more of an interest, like what's going to look interesting in the long run. So now if I wanted to sell these books and it was important to see who they were written by, I would want to take a picture angled at the spine that shows the artwork of the book, right? So I'm going to angle it this way because I like that light source coming from over there. And I'm going to go ahead and take some photos to give you examples as we go through this class. Get photograph right there of the spine. Make sure it's in focus and the light is nice and bright. Now I don't love this angle, so I'm going to simply move the object to get it to be a little bit more legible and interesting. There we go. I like that a lot better. And sometimes you just have to play around with it to really get an image that's going to work well for you. There we go. Another really interesting thing when you're taking photographs of products, whether it's a book or a sculpture or an object, is to play around with it and go, how can I make this really interesting? So sometimes I like to try photographing things from the top down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Come a little bit further from the top just so I have more space to work with. Another thing you might do is if something has details that are important for selling, you want to showcase the details, right? So with books, sometimes it's important to see if there's an inscription, especially for old objects, or you might want to highlight things in the book such as the publishing date and open. And then the other thing is that if you add a model or a person to your photographs, you make them more interesting. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to hold this book open to the copyright date because it shows that this is a really old book. And then I'm going to bring it up and include my hand in this photo because it shows the scale, kind of like what the size of this book is. That makes it more interesting as well. I'm just going to figure out where I want my hand, just like that. The stack of books. And again, I'm going to press where I want it to focus. There we go. Excellent. So there's an example of an object that has an exterior or an outside that's important, as well as the inside that's important. All right, we're going to move on to our next object. Okay, so now I have this beautiful necklace that I bought from a local artist several years ago. As you can see, it has some 3 dimensions. It's a gorgeous collar necklace with some beads, some fabric, and some felt fibers. So to take a photo of this, you can just take a photo of art or jewelry flat on a nice plain surface like this, but there are ways to make it more interesting. So first I'll take a few boring photos and show you how I might make them a little better. So first we do what's called a lay flat. It's laying flat on our surface, and we can just go ahead and take a photo of it like this. All right, so what I have here are some plain art craft boxes. I like to use boxes or other objects that are 3-dimensional to prop up products like this to make them more interesting. So for our example, I'm simply going to do 2 boxes with one angled like this, and I'll show you why. Because this way, like this, it can drape the necklace and make that very lovely and interesting. Now look at that, isn't that beautiful? It showcases the 3-dimensionality of this necklace and it makes it much more interesting and engaging. So I'm going to go ahead and do some photos here to show you as an example. Here we go, straight on, maybe off to the angled side here. I want to get a close-up just to show the beautiful colors in the fibers and the stones that are embedded. And then maybe you want to highlight something specific about like a jewelry or a small object. I want to showcase this clasp, this magnetic clasp. So I'm going to do a photo like this that shows it open and a close-up. Get to focus. There we go. And there it is closed. We'll do a couple more photos as great examples for you to see. Awesome. Sometimes you want to leave space on the sides. We do like a side angle photo. That way we can add text and information to it later. There we go. Hey there, let me introduce my wonderful helpers today. This is my husband, Casey Margell, and my son, Cooper Margell. And we are making this video together to help you, and Casey will be our model. Because when you add people to your photographs, they're more engaging and compelling, and they really kind of show scale. They actually make people maybe imagine themselves being in the picture, enjoying your products and food. And Cooper gets to model as a student, as he's also learning how to take better smartphone photos himself. Thank you, guys. All right, now we have a beautiful plate of tacos. This is a classic dish. And we can do a lot with tacos because we can do the top-down angle, we can do the side angle, we can add a person in there eating them. So Cooper, as my wonderful student, what would you like to do to take photos of these tacos to make them look delicious?
I think I'd like to show off the ingredients that they put in there because tacos are nice and open so you can see what's inside.
Yeah.
A top angle also looks really well because tacos tend to open up to the top.
Great, go ahead.
We've got a top angle here, and then we're going to get a side angle showing off the ingredients.
Yes. And then I want to point out that our main light source is coming from this direction. So this is also a really great angle to go from. So I'm going to go ahead and snap just a couple of these photos myself to share with you in the class. And I'm going to level up my light because I want it nice and bright again. I'm centering it with the rule of thirds. I'm gonna get a real close up there at just one of the tacos, showing those delicious ingredients. I want a little lime to show up in there, so I'm gonna just put that in over there on the side, show the lime's ready to go as I get nice and close. Oh, this one's not pretty. So I'm gonna do that. Look at all the details of your food, taco. Great, we got all that going on. Another delicious, delicious angle. All right, here we have a beautiful plated burger with fries, classic American meal, and we're gonna talk about how I would photograph this. First of all, we're gonna remember we wanna look at where the main light source direction's coming from this side, the shadows this side. We have a nice plain white background, we have a chair, we could move that around. So Cooper, to take this photo, I want you to think about where would be a good angle for this. And remember, good rules of thumb for food photography are top down on the plate and up the side at an angle. So where do you think would be a good spot to take a photo of this burger?
I think that at a side angle here might be good. So it includes the chair, but also includes the burger in there, and it kind of all captures it in the same frame.
Great, go ahead and
Up and
take
down.
that picture. I like that idea.
Got it.
Excellent. I'm going to encourage you to take a couple different angles so that we can review them later. So I'm going to encourage you to, top down.
Top down angle.
Yep.
And we got the other angle.
You want to get that white background as your main angle. There you go.
And we got a front
Just like
facing
that.
angle.
Perfect. Excellent. Now let's see what happens when we put a person in that photo to make it look more appealing. All right, now we have our wonderful model in the picture, and we're going to show how to take pictures of people eating. It's funny because when we eat, we actually make terrible faces. So Casey, as our model, we're going to pretend that you're going to eat this burger. So I want you to go ahead and pick it up and hold it in your hands, and we're going to help guide you to hold it in a good way. So go ahead and pick that up. Yeah, excellent. Hold it right like that. What I like about this pose right here is that you have a nice black t-shirt. It's a good background for the burger. So Cooper, to take a picture of this burger, I want to encourage you to think about angles and sides, just holding it in his hands as like something that's to scale. Go ahead and hold it in one hand, and he can come over here and see all the goodies that are in it, and straight on. Yep, that's a good one too.
Nice smile.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, come on over here, Cooper, to this other side. I want you to get this angle right here where you're looking in at all those good ingredients. Casey, if you could take another hand at that. Yep, and let's turn it towards the camera, even if it's, just like that. And let's
Nice
give
smile.
a great big smile.
There you
And
go.
then, oh, one more, top down, angle down.
Top down.
Yep, show all the goodies and the happy person about to eat. A
There we
little
go.
bit less extreme. Let's do it right here. Maybe you get a close up. Yeah. All right, here we have a beautiful burrito, plated, cut open a little bit. We have a little lime wedge. This could stay in the photo, or we could move it out if we find it distracting. For now, I kind of like the color. It's going to be great for what kind of shot, Cooper?
Probably an upper shot or a shot that shows all the ingredients spilling out.
Yeah, let's take some with and without the lime wedge. Are you ready?
All right.
All right.
We're going to do an upper shot up close. And then we're going to do a side frontal shot showing the ingredients.
Great.
And then we're going to remove the lime wedge. And we got all those ingredients besides themselves. And then an upper shot.
Great. And then another thing I like to do is to really encourage like details to really show the texture in the food. So I'm going to do that right here because I like the light. And I'm going to remove the lime wedge here. Just that. I'm actually going to get the lens all the way down to the plate eye level. To really get in at the food. I'm going to increase the brightness on the phone. There we go. Nice. And then we'll go ahead. Do more of
Move
that.
your head.
Okay, now we're going to add our model. Step right in, Casey.
All right.
All right, so now we have a person. Remember, the person gives scale and it shows the size. It can also show the enjoyment. So Casey, this is going to get a little bit messy, but let's start with you holding the plate up, kind of like we did before. You're excited and you're happy about it, but you're going to hold it up and kind of like out so you can be kind of blurry with your facial expressions. All right, Cooper, go ahead and hop right in.
I'm going to do a frontal photo. We don't have to get the whole person in there.
That's right. All right, and then let's do kind of an angle over here. So I'll do this one. Casey, if you could hold the plate this way, over more closer to the light. There we go. Yep, just like that. And the camera wants to focus on his face, but we have to tell the camera to focus on the food so that his face is kind of blurry. There we go. But you're looking happy. And maybe just look this direction, right over my shoulder. Or actually, no, I like looking at the food. That's good. There we go. And then let's hold it up a little bit, like, ooh la la, that looks delicious. Great job. All right, good. Okay,
Cool.
thank you. Go ahead and set it down.
Okay.
Can you, I know this is gonna get messy. I promise this is the last part so you can actually eat. Will you pick up 1/2 of that burrito with your hands, two-handed?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Okay, Cooper, we're gonna need to jump right in here. So hold, oh, yeah.
I think I'm gonna do a top shot because all the ingredients are showing, and it shows the proportions of the hands.
Oh, so good. All right,
Good
do that
shot.
again because he had rice on his hands. So you want to do that again?
I'm gonna do
From
that
the
from
top.
a different
Okay.
angle.
Great.
This side. So get some more of that light, but you still get the hands in there. Then you take a photo. Can you look like you're excited to eat it? You can't wait. There we go.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna jump in and do a couple myself. All right, I love that. Yeah, I like the low angle there. And just the focus again. And then I like your idea, Cooper. This is such a fun idea. Again, it gives you scope and angle. Let's move it out a little bit away from your body so it's just the food with the background and the hands. I'm gonna lighten it up a tiny bit like that. Come in, bring it up away from the plate.
All right, now that we've finished demonstrating and showing you with hands-on experience what taking photos of food and products is like, I would love to show you a bit more about how you can go about editing your photos to make them a little bit more versatile and useful for social media. Now, here we are. We are going to cull or sort through all the photos. As you can see, we took a lot of photos of each item for product or food. What we want to do is look at them. I went ahead and I picked out the top 4 from each photo set. And of the top 4, we want to look through and pick out the best one. We're going to eliminate one so that we have the top 3. It's a good number for showing a series and starting to build out your photo library. So you can see some examples of the top 4 narrowed down to top 3. You might have top 10 that you took, and you'll want to narrow those down to say the best, right? The best lighting, the best composition, and also thinking in terms of whether or not you want to add text when you're in editing mode. All right? Now let me show you how I would edit these. 2 editing tools that I recommend using are the Apple Photos app and Google Photos app because they are free. And if you're an Apple phone user, you'll use the Apple app. If you're an Android user, I encourage you to use the Google Photos app. So we're going to start with the Apple Photos editing tool, and it looks like this. Notice in the upper center of the window, you see the words Adjust, Filters, and Crop. The first editing tool we're going to use is the Crop tool. We're going to crop this image down so all you see is the white background around the plate of the hamburger. Now we're back in the adjustments section and you can see there's lots of options. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to increase the lightness, the brightness of the image, and by simply moving that lever over under that section, then we're going to increase the color or the vibrancy, the brightness of the colors so that the colors are really true to the French fries. And there you have it. Next, we're going to use Google Photos. We're going to open that up, and as you can see, there are different tools, different icons up in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to go all the way over to the 3 dots stacked on top of each other. When you press the 3 dots, they're going to drop down and show you 3 different adjustments that you can make: light, color, and pop. Next, I want to rotate this image, so I'm going to choose the crop tool in the upper right-hand corner with the arrows. And I'm going to rotate this so the books are facing up so you can really read the titles. That's better. Now we're going to press done and we're going to see we can adjust the light color and pop. I want to just simply make this lighter and I'm going to press the drop down button, that little caret down, and adjust the shadows and the exposure a little bit to get my lighting just right. And then I'm going to adjust the pop factor. And there, it's done. Now that you've seen a couple of examples, please explore, practice, and have fun. Thanks to Only in South Park for making this class possible.